getting closer and closer to the weekend. I feel like this is one of those that maybe you had a short week, maybe you didn't. I've been confused on what day it is every day this week, but it is Thursday. And welcome to Coast Life. We're your hosts. I'm Leah Rizzo.
I'm Charlie Sakaitis, and I am an annoyed Charlie Sakaitis today. Do you ever injure yourself doing something really stupid? I feel like Leah's going to have some stories too. I just did one of those things where you bite into a chip the wrong way. It's like straight up and down, vertical in your mouth, and I scraped the top of my mouth, and now I can't keep my tongue off the little scrape, and it's just every 2 seconds it's bothering me. It's annoying, and I was wondering if you guys at home, is it a stubbing of your toe? Is it little burning your tongue when you're trying to eat that pizza roll a little too quickly?
Every time I'm the queen of burning my tongue, or like the worst when you get the roof of your mouth and you get like the skin on top, and you're just like,
I know, I'm
that's all you can feel. And it ruins your taste for like a week. Nothing tastes good, and you're like, I did this to myself. But yeah, I feel like those are the moments where like they're extremely humbling, and you're like, how bad can a paper cut possibly hurt? And then all of a sudden, for the rest of the next 2 days, you're encountering lemon juice and citrus more often than you ever would in your life. Only when you have a paper cut.
It's just, and it's doubly annoying because it's an own goal. It's you did this to yourself. There's nobody to blame here. It wasn't big paper that caused this to happen. It was just you slicing your paper cut across your finger.
I think for me, the worst ones, like it's not even really a true injury, but like it will take a midday to the end of the world immediately is when you're like trying to leave in a rush and you whack your hip on like the door handle.
Oh, yeah.
Or like your keys, like because I always have 8 million bags on me for some reason, and I'm trying, like the final straw is like I'll have everything ready to go and I drop my keys and I'm like,
in that same vein, have you ever caught a belt loop on a door handle?
Yes. Or a lanyard on the door handle. You're just like, boom, like it's world ending.
Yeah. But do you guys at home have any good stories of like the dumb thing that you accidentally did that just caused you both frustration, pain, and has nobody to blame but yourself?
Yep, we want to hear it. You can always chime in on our socials. You can also always email us, team@coastlife.com. And we just, we like to feel like we're not alone, and we know that you kind of feel that same way. Nobody wants to be alone in these humbling moments of our lives. Something else we wanted to talk about that we thought was kind of interesting. There seems to be a growing trend or an uptick in the trend of couples who are together. They are very much together. They exist as a couple everywhere but the home. They are living apart together. What are your thoughts on a trend like this?
I think it's interesting. So from the one standpoint, at a time where there's not enough housing, I think that's maybe not an option for everybody.
Fair.
But I can understand why some people just like their own space. I specifically would not be a fan of it. In my own relationship, we like hanging out, we like being around each other, we like spending time together. But there's a lot of people that they're like, I need my me time, and some people I'll be super engaged with what our relationship is for these hours of the day, but then I need to go have some time to do my own thing and decompress. I think it just is very different person to person, as long as, and here's the word we use a lot, you're communicating with your partner, then it can be okay. But you also do need to keep an eye out in those situations for, is either side pulling away? Is there not enough attention from either side? The upside, though, I think, is that it makes the time you do spend together feel more like a date, whereas everybody has been in those relationships where you almost feel alone in the same room with somebody else. Yeah. So I can see where there are positives, but I wouldn't be able to do it.
I'm kind of with you that like I don't think at this point in my life it would be my personal preference. Now I do wonder if like you break this trend down by like age group. I wonder if you're likely to see this more in older couples that maybe they had been married for a really long time and this is a second partner for them, and they're like, you know what? Just come take me out on a date and then drop me back off, and like that's how they'll live out the remainder of their relationship, because maybe they feel like, we did that, and maybe you either had such a strong bond with your first spouse and like it's really hard to recreate that or find that again. So I wonder if maybe you see this more in older couples who are maybe on a second relationship, or celebrities, because there are some celebrities that have modeled this type of lifestyle where 2 houses, no big deal. I have 8.
Might be a financial
right.
situation. Also on the older couples thing, even if they haven't split up, maybe it's like, I've heard all your stories at this point. Let's build some mystery.
Here he goes again.
Let's build some mystery. You go do other things for a day or two, and then we can share stories and have a spark again.
And so I wonder if maybe that number looks different when broken down into different age groups, because obviously when you're young and you're first starting out and you're living in 2 different places because you just met, and then I feel like most people kind of come together in that middle of life. You spend all your time together, and then I wonder if towards on your way out you're like, see ya.
So, and I would love to know from the audience, do we have anybody doing this out there? If you do, we'd love to hear the story, how it works for you guys. Maybe we can work that into a segment later next week or something. If you let us know what the deal is, if you're living, together but apart.
Yep. Once again, we want to hear from you. And something else that we wanted to talk about, and Charlie, you have a list of pretty good questions that we pull from sometimes for the show. And this is one that I thought was pertinent because we won't be done talking about books after this question. But best book you ever read? Do you have one off the top of your head? I feel like this is a hard question.
Really simple. It's The Great Gatsby. I love F. Scott Fitzgerald's
that
writing.
Tracks.
The Great Gatsby is just such an incredible tale. There's a million things. It's been parsed by every teenager who's gone through high school ever. But I just love the way that book tracks the story it's telling, the elements in it, and which is interesting because almost everything else that I really like is more fanciful, fantasy stuff, sci-fi stuff.
Yeah. So I don't know that I can necessarily pick a favorite overall, but I do think my favorite book that I've read recently, and because I did read The Princess Bride at some point because it's my favorite movie, but I think because I had seen the movie so many times, and the book is the movie is a very true adaptation of the book in a lot of ways, that I didn't feel it was nostalgic, but it wasn't necessarily new to me when I read The Princess Bride. But Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson gave me that same, it reads like a comical adult fairy tale with all the adventure, all of the fun, and just it was so lighthearted. And I had such a good time reading this book that I think, for me as a recent read, that's my current favorite.
I'll have to get to that one because I'm in the middle of a big Sanderson read right now. I've just finished
and it's got all his great
one that I really like. So
it has all his great world building elements and adventure, and just you will be smiling ear to ear the entire read, I promise you. So get back to me on that.
I will check it out.
But like we said, we're not done talking about books and many other fun things coming down the line. Let's see what's coming up today on Coast Life. There is a book festival coming to Rehoboth Beach this weekend. We've got details on that.
And the tea this week is hot, and we are spilling it as we talk about exes, social media, and what is and isn't okay.
And maybe you've been wanting to get back in touch with or start a new hobby in the art world. We've got classes that you can take as well. All that fun and more is coming up on Coast Life.
Coast Life is sponsored by BB Healthcare, Coastal Comfort Heating and Air Conditioning, Preston Automotive Group, Shell Brothers, and the Parker Group.
Well, as we said, we're not done talking about books here on Coast Life, and we pretty much have the perfect weekend planned for book lovers. Joining us on the Coast Life couch is Lisa Petreka with Milton Library. You're the outreach director, but you guys are really uniting with libraries throughout Sussex County to put together a festival this weekend. So give us the details.
Yes. So thank you for having me.
Of course.
It's a pleasure and an honor. Yes, so the Sussex County Libraries, we're hosting a beachside book festival because it's in Rehoboth, Delaware. And we're inviting several local authors, local talented artisans, craft vendors. So they'll be displaying their book art, their book jewelry. So it's library related, book related. And then there'll be other vendors there as well. The authors, they will be doing author talks at the Convention Center as well as the Rehoboth Library. This is the festival booklet. Our authors, local authors, will be doing book talks at the Convention Center, the Rehoboth Library. Their times are in here.
Perfect.
Of which location they'll be in. And the authors that are featured are historical fiction, nonfiction, horror. So, we've kind of hit the gamut on, the genre to appeal to all the people coming to the festival.
Well, can I ask you a question about that?
Of course.
How did you decide which authors to reach out to?
Well, that's a good question. I have a team that we're working with to create this festival, and everyone had a job to do. So we had someone assigned to do vendors, and with all the libraries, we do outreach for outreach events, and we always have vendors and things like that come into our libraries. So we reached out to those vendors, and then local authors, we also host author talks at the libraries. So authors will come, and then we just keep them on hand, and then when we know we're doing stuff like this, we reach out and say, hey, we're having a book festival.
Want to come on by?
Come on by. Yeah, so it's a lot of work going into planning this.
Yeah.
It's a year process, and then it's also great partnerships. So we partnered with Browse About Books.
Yes.
Our festival starts at 10 a.m. at the convention center. So you can come in, meet your vendors, meet your authors, author talks, and then in this booklet there's discounts at certain restaurants that you could go. Perfect. So our festival's from 10 to 1, and then come back to us because doors open at 4 p.m. where we'll be hosting author David Baldacci. He's a best-selling thriller author, and it is so exciting because, you know, to bring this caliber of author to our patrons, it is a ticketed event, so you know you did have to purchase a ticket. The event is sold out. We are expecting 800 people for that event. I know, so I'm sorry, the town of Rehoboth. But it's also good for the businesses, you know, and so take advantage of the DART system. If you have friends that live in Rehoboth, ask if you can park in their driveways, carpool, come early.
Have a plan,
Have a plan, yes. But yeah, we're so excited. It's a great event for libraries. It's a great way to bring communities together. It's a Sussex County library event. Yeah. So all the libraries are, you know, basically sponsoring it. And, you know, we just look so forward to meeting all of our patrons and book lovers.
It's important to highlight Sussex County libraries now that you guys are doing this. Why is it so important to you guys to just kind of keep spreading the word about libraries?
Well, you know, rumors, we've lost funding with the IMLS. So it's important to support your libraries. So I'll break it down. Our libraries, we have 13 libraries in the county, and 3 of them are government run, meaning that Sussex County owns them. That's Milton, South Coastal, and Greenwood. The rest of the libraries are independent. So they rely on a lot of federal funding, support funding, grant funding, because that's their operating. So it's important to highlight how important libraries are. You know, we're not just repository for books. We have festivals like this to highlight local authors and talent. You know, we promote literacy. We're getting ready to go into summer reading, which is very important for children because it prevents the summer slide. You know, we make events and programs fun for kids because we want to promote lifelong learning. That's what's important about libraries.
Yeah, there's a lot you can get at the library that's not just books. Books would be enough, believe me. It's enough. That's enough of a reason for me to go, but there are other things going on.
Yes, there's other services. I mean, we have streaming services now. Magazines, I mean, you would think magazines are like a dying thing, but no, there's digital magazines that that's free with your library card.
For folks who are looking to attend the first half of the festival, since the second half is the sold out ticketed event, do people need to purchase anything, or can they just walk into the doors of the convention center?
Yes, so it is a free event. You can walk into the convention center for free. If you opt to purchase an author book or a trinket from one of the local vendors, they would greatly appreciate it because, you know, that's their business and their, living. So it's always good to support local. And but it's not going to cost you anything. And then, of course, if you want to go out to eat, you get a discount at some of the places. And
sounds like the perfect weekend.
Way to spend your weekend.
Great weekend.
And that's happening this Saturday. You said 10 to 1, and then the evening or afternoon portion. That is the
gotta have that ticket on.
Yes. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for coming in today and for all that you do with the libraries, but also for putting on this festival because it's going to do a lot for our community.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Coming up on Coast Life, though, we've talked about the literary arts. We're talking about the visual arts when we get back.
This segment of Coast Life is sponsored by Ocean City Art League.
Well, Coast Life, it's no secret that we love going to visit our friends at the Art League of Ocean City, whether it's to check out all the beautiful artwork that's on display in the galleries or it's to chat about some classes, because they've got classes for all ages, all skill levels, ways to keep your hands busy, or maybe to try something new if that's one of your goals for the year. So we're hanging out with Marianne Cooper, Education Director here at the Art League of Ocean City. First of all, how are you, Marianne?
I'm doing well. Glad to have you back.
Yes, we're glad to be here. So tell us a little bit about some of the upcoming classes that you have going on.
All right, so we're starting our new session April, May, and June. We have a lot of exciting new things that are happening. We have two bigger artists that are coming in to do some workshops.
Nice.
Ryan Fox is coming in April to do a watercolor batik on Japanese rice paper. Really neat.
Interesting.
And then we also have another artist coming in. Her name is Amy Diapais. And she travels all over the world. So she's on the East Coast, the Eastern Shore in June. So she's coming in to do a day at the beach. And then we also have a resident watercolor artist, Geraldine Gaskell. And
we love Geraldine.
They are amazing, and they do workshops with us all year long, and people love their workshops. We have Clayapalooza coming up in June.
Yes.
So during the month of June, we're going to celebrate pottery and all things ceramics, and we have a huge weekend in June coming up with Clayapalooza. That'll be a lot of fun as well. Of course, we have our art adventure camps. We have a mini camp, lots of kids activities, lots of different types of classes that are coming. So check out our website. There's always some new things, trying to get some new things. We have some new things happening this summer. So come out and take a class.
Yes.
Oh, we are going to be at Spring Fest this year. So we are going to have Leo and Geraldine are going to do some painting demonstrations. You can take a class with us at Spring Fest.
Nice.
You can do some make and takes, but come out and see us at Spring Fest.
So there's a lot going on. Marianne, you've been busy.
Yes, a whole lot going on at the Art League and out and about as well.
There always is. Now, I know for a lot of artists, you know, that sort of art and painting bug or whatever your form of art is, it bites you young.
It does.
And you tend to be passionate about it as a kid. But I do think some artists grow into it a little bit later in life, or they lose that passion somewhere along the way in early adulthood and they circle back to it. So
Yes,
why would you
they
encourage, folks of all ages to sign up and just take that class?
Just take a class. You just never know where your skills are. And it's fun, it's relaxing, it's a stress reliever. So many people have just taken a class and realized, wow, I can do this.
Yeah.
Our instructors are amazing too. They meet you where you are at.
I love that.
So please don't feel intimidated. Geraldine Gaskell and Leah Call, our resident watercolor workshop artists, will bring you right in, as well as our other instructors, Jackie Yaman, Alicia Rappold. All of our instructors are just so amazing and so wonderful, and they really meet people where they are.
I love to hear that, because I think it can be a little intimidating to start something new, or maybe you feel like, oh, my skills aren't polished enough, they're too rough, I'm going to get out-competed in this class.
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. They're going to come in and they're going to work with you and make you feel like a pro by the time you leave.
I love to hear that. And yes, we've met Geraldine before on the Coast Life couch, and she's such a sweet soul.
Yes, she is.
You love her immediately. So Marianne, for folks who are interested in signing up for these classes, do they have to do so ahead of time? Should they register online?
You need to go online. It's nice to register ahead of time because that helps the instructors out to know what materials they need.
Makes sense.
And if you need to bring materials, so you'll have time to get materials. So just go onto our website and check it out. If you have any questions about any class, just give me a call or an email and I will respond to you as soon as I can and get you in.
Fantastic. Well, Marianne Cooper, Education Director here at the Art League of Ocean City, thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule, because I know you're hard at work getting all these fun events ready for adults and kids alike who are in our area and enjoying Ocean City and enjoying all the art scene that it has to offer. So thank you again.
Thank you for being here.
Of course, but we have some more Coast Life to get to that you're also not going to want to miss, so that's on the way.
You're watching Coast Life with Leah Rizzo and Charlie Sakaitis.
We did a lot of talking about social media, about technology this week, but we have an update. This actually comes from a story that ran on Coast TV this week. Social media appears to be losing some of its charm amongst the younger generations. 48% of teenagers say online platforms have a, quote, mostly negative effect on their peers. That's according to a Pure Research Center survey. Now, that's an increase of 16% compared to what it was in 2022. Only 11% say social media is mostly positive for young men and women, And how about this? This was the one that surprised me the most. 44% of teens also say they're now spending less time on their phones in general. So maybe, Leah, the kids are all right.
I love it. That's music to my ears. And I actually have, and maybe because we have been talking about it so much and my phone has been listening, some of my algorithms have switched to people, younger people using like 2 phones now. So they'll carry a flip phone like during the day, and then for travel or important places where maybe you need your little handheld pocket computer with you, then they'll switch to their smartphone. But the flip phone, there was nothing more satisfying than angry closing the flip phone.
I do have a good buddy, my friend Nate. He, for years, he had what he called a dumb phone. He did have his other one for when he needed it, but if he was going to be out doing stuff with friends, he would only take the dumb phone so that he could you know, text if you need to, where we meeting up, call if he has to, but it didn't give him access to all that other stuff.
I mean, I think that is one of the reasons why the 90s in particular is so strongly nostalgic, is it was the perfect blend of what felt like peak technology at the time. You know, you had a computer, you had a cell phone, you had access to so many things, but you were still independent of one another. You still had personal time. You still weren't accessible 24 hours a day. And I think that's what people miss.
Yeah, I mean, we had laptops, but they weighed 84 pounds.
Right,
and
it was kind of inconvenient to use technology.
Take it everywhere. You could, you know, maybe play Snake on your phone. That was like the level of you know, technology that you were handling. It was like one of those old Nokias that you could throw against the wall and the wall would break. Yeah, those are the kinds of things that were going on in the 90s.
I think so, and I think that is why there is a certain pull and nostalgia that's so strong and prominent of the 80s, 90s. You know, third places, you had the mall, you had so many places you could be with your friends in person that was encouraged. I mean, even playing video games in the 80s and 90s, you had to do it together, physically in person, where now you can play online together. So I think kids are starting to kind of push back a little bit, and I've thought this for a long time, that like social media, the addictive quality of it was going to be like our generation smoking, where we didn't know how bad it was for us when we were signing up for Facebook and TikTok and Instagram and all the things, and we're like, yeah, it's just social media, it's cute, it's fun, and then didn't realize you're just...
And like smoking, I think that most people can intuit, go, putting smoke into my body probably isn't great,
bad.
But you know, it seems like everybody else is doing it.
But everyone else is doing
That's how social media is right now.
Real.
You're like, this can't be good,
and
but we're doing it anyway.
I also always thought there would be a natural sort of counterculture that when kids start to reject what their parents thought were cool, as we step into those roles of my generation becoming parents, you know, our kids are going to be like, it's not as cool as you thought it was. You guys really posted photos of your dinner everywhere.
We're out here doing tactile things.
You guys were really out there just filming the public, hoping someone would do something stupid, and you're like, well, I guess.
To be fair, sometimes they did.
Sometimes they did. But I think that is reassuring news to hear at this time.
It's nice to see that at least some people in the next generation are going, we're going to back off this a little bit. Maybe go touch some grass somewhere.
Exactly. Get some hobbies, you know, some physical hands-on hobbies. We love to see it. We also love to see more Coast Life. Let's see what's coming up for the rest of the show. Speaking of social media, we're talking exes, we're talking friending on social media, and of course, drama with Spill the Tea.
Another reason to maybe just get rid of that phone for a little while. Plus, the Delaware Manufacturing Association, they stopped by to kind of give us some information that you might need depending on where you live in the area.
And if it's a new home that you're searching for, perhaps you found the place with you. We're going to be taking a tour of a Kingfisher model from the Shell Brothers. All that fun and more is coming up on Coast Life.
This segment of Coast Life is sponsored by the Spice and Tea Exchange of Rehoboth.
Well, we told you the tea was going to be hot and a little juicy today with our Spill the Tea, thanks to our friends at the Spice and Tea Exchange on Rehoboth Avenue in Rehoboth Beach. Charlie, what's the tea that we are drinking today?
Let's take a look, and I can already smell it in the air. It's got a nice cinnamony vibe. Red Hot Toddy Herbal Tea. Love that. Cinnamon lovers rejoice. A deliciously daring medley of ribose, apple, and unapologetic amounts of cinnamon.
Yum.
Boldly aromatic and indulgent. Enjoy this naturally caffeine-free blend any time of day.
Ooh, sounds good to me. So, Charlie, why don't you get to spilling, and I, too, will get to spilling the hot tea. Let's dive right in. Is she wrong for getting upset that her partner friended his ex on social media? I feel like I know where we're all going with this one. A woman found out that her partner recently reconnected with his ex online. He says it's harmless, no big deal, but she feels like it's something that should have been communicated. Now he's saying she's overreacting and being insecure. What do you think? Should he have told her first, or is it really not a big deal?
I don't know if you guys have heard us talk about this before, but there's this one word we use a lot, communication. You save yourselves a lot of trouble because it really, all exes and relationships are not the same. So
and if it wasn't a big deal, you would have just said something.
Yeah, so if it was like, hey, I was going to do this, like, we're still cool, but we're not, it's not a problem. Is it going to make you feel uncomfortable? That's one thing. To just do it and then clearly she is uncomfortable with it is another thing. You probably can't get away with that.
I have a sneaking suspicion the main reason she's uncomfortable with it is because he didn't say anything. Because again, if it really wasn't a big deal, you would have said, hey, this might be weird, but like this girl that we used to date in high school friended me, like it wasn't that serious. Are you okay if I accept the friend invite?
And also, regardless of what the situation is, it feels like she's just got that gut feeling that this isn't okay. And that gut feeling, it's not always right, but it's got a high batting percentage.
It really does. But as always, we turn the tea over to the people, and this is what the people have to say. Steve is saying, yeah, that should have been communicated with her. Donald asked a few more follow-up questions saying, how strong was her relationship with her partner? How long ago was the ex part of his life? Good communication and giving space are both part of a strong romance.
Also, why weren't they still friends? How bad of a breakup was it that was no longer a case, that there had to then be a going back? Was it on a different platform that they didn't use before? There are some questions, but I defer to the gut.
Yeah, I defer to the gut, and I mean it's up to her whether she wants to follow the keep your friends close but your enemies closer policy, or not so much. But it's definitely something that, as we have said many a time in this segment and many a time on this show, it's all about communication, and we are about to communicate to you how good this tea is.
Talk to your partners, people. This saves you a lot of trouble.
Saves you a lot of trouble. And the Spice and Tea Exchange can help you with a lot of your stress just by drinking a good cup of tea. And this one's very relaxing, very soothing. You
know what? Maybe get rid of the boyfriend, get some tea, see what you can do there. Maybe you bump into a new boyfriend in the store.
That's right. So we'll give you a minute to plan out your shopping list at the Spice and Tea Exchange on Rehoboth Avenue in Rehoboth Beach. When we get back, though, we're breaking down a lot of information for you, especially when it comes to land ownership and manufactured home ownership.
Yes.
That's on the way.
Housing is always a hot topic here on Delmarva, and today we're talking to the Delaware Manufactured Home Association. We've got Henry Klum, Stacy Shelton in to join us today. And Henry, I want to start with you. What is it that you guys do, and why is it important for people to understand what you guys do?
Our most important thing is to advocate for people living on leased land in Delaware. It's a complicated business structure, leased land. We own the home, they own the land. They set the rules. There is a law book. It's Delaware Manufactured Homeowners Association, and then there's a landlord-tenant code book. And these are laws that we advocate for to be signed into law to make things fair.
Yes.
Both sides. We're not trying to, that's an industry, and we understand the difference between their business and our business. So we advocate to protect our people, but at the same time, we know they have rights too as landowners.
Trying to find that right balance between the two sides. And
exactly.
Stacy, how did you come to this? What made you interested in this part of the world?
So I am the executive director. I am the only person who receives a small stipend a month to kind of consult and guide and help them. I'm a former teacher, so I love working and helping people. And DMOA is an organization where you get to help lots of people and help educate them. That's the focus point for me. A lot of people don't know their rights, and that's why they get taken advantage of. So I love being able to help educate them on the laws and help protect them.
So if you were somebody that is in one of these communities, and maybe you do have an issue, you're looking for a little bit of help, how would they reach out to you guys if that's the right thing for them to do?
Well, we really would like to see communities have an HOA. Okay, that's their first line of getting resolved issues. You go to your HOA, you go to your HOA board with problems. They go to management. If they can't get the resolution there, come to us.
Along with that, so our goal is to help get HOAs formed.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of HOAs formed, but they're not part of DMOA. So they're not educated again on their rights. So we can't help them watch the landowners and make sure that they're not, their rights aren't being violated. So that's really important. But along with that, it's important that the HOAs stay educated, and they can do that by coming to our general meetings. We hold a meeting once a month, and we educate them on the rights and keep them informed.
And, what we're working on right now, we used to go out and educate. We would go to an area and say, anybody is welcome to come to the training program. It would be an entire Saturday. Well, we have decided to do it on the internet and make modules, which will always be there. You can go on and pick a module and say, this is what I need to know out of Chapter 7.
So you don't have to clear the schedule. You can find it at any time
right
you want to.
Yeah.
It's all accessible.
And it'll be updated as bills are introduced and new legislation goes through. We will update whatever needs to be updated. It'll always be there 24/7 if people have problems. So, it's one of the best things we've come up with in a while to advance us to help the residents.
So let's take an example, a hypothetical here. You've got a community, they've decided they're going to do what you suggest. They've formed an HOA, but they're still trying to sort of figure it out, and now that HOA wants to, get some direction. How would that happen? How do they contact you guys?
So we have a website. It's just www.dmoa.org, and they can go on there. They'll find the phone number, which will contact me when they dial it. They'll reach me, and I'll address their concerns and either help them through it or guide them to other resources that could help them.
Is there a typical way that when people do reach out, is there a typical complaint? Is it different depending on the community all the time? What is it like as you start to hear from these communities?
Yeah, I would say the most common question I get is how lot rent is calculated. So as Henry said, it's based on a formula, but it can cause their lot rents to go up a lot. And so when you're working with people on fixed income or you're working with people with disability income, it can be a very tough struggle for them. The other thing that we're up against is these HOAs that are these communities that don't form an HOA. It's in part because some of these homeowners, yes, they own their home, but they're just getting by. They're just being able to get to work, afford, their bills. They don't have time to put into forming an HOA. But we want to come to them and help them get that formed so that way they're better protected. So just kind of adding a little bit more on those HOAs. We are different. Our HOAs do not create rules. We are there as an HOA within the community to work with the landowner to kind of resolve issues prior to getting DMOA involved or legislators involved. So we're a lot different than in a stick-built community where, they have the HOAs that you pay a lot of money to. It's $20 to $25 a year to be a member of your HOA that then automatically gets you a member of DMOA also.
And is that the benefit for these folks? Having this type of an HOA, it just gives you some bargaining power or access to things that you may not have?
Power in numbers. If you go up against one person goes to them, that's just one voice. But if a group goes, that's more power.
Well, I'll get you guys out of here on this one. Is there anything you want to add? Anything that the people at home need to know about the mission or how they can, be involved if they need to? Is there anything you want to leave our viewers with today?
I think the one thing that I want to add is it's important to have that HOA and to belong to DMOA, because if DMOA doesn't have members, then we go away, which means the landowners will be able to get whatever laws they want in place because no one's going to be advocating for the homeowners. So it's really important that more communities join DMOA, form HOAs if they don't have one, and then join DMOA, and they can do that by going to dmoa.org.
All right.
We are a all-volunteer nonprofit organization, and right now we're averaging as volunteers 50, 60 hours a week.
Oh, man.
Okay, and it does become a passion. I didn't think I had it in me until I went to my first HOA meeting And I couldn't leave there without going to the then president saying, what can I do to help? And he said, how about being my vice president? Well, you know, you could have had to pick me up off the floor, but we have it in us. It's in everybody. The passion is there. You just need to bring it out.
Well, guys, thank you so much for
Thank you.
joining us today. We really do appreciate it. We've got more Coast Life coming up after the break. You're going to want to stick around. We're going to be talking with...
This segment of Coast Life is sponsored by Shell Brothers.
Well, if you've been thinking it's time to maybe live a slightly quieter lifestyle, a little bit more of an intimate community, a little bit away from the hustle and bustle, but not so far that you're inconvenienced, then perhaps you want to build your dream home here at Serenity at Cubbage Pond. It's one of the newest Shell Brothers communities, and maybe you could build your home just like this. If living your dream looks like being able to explore all the amazing restaurants, trails, waterways, and so much more that Delmarva has to offer during the day, then winding down with a beautiful screened-in space as the sun goes down, then Serenity at Cubbage Pond is the Shell Brothers community for you. Tyler Teed and Crystal O'Shields paint the picture of what this neighborhood can offer you.
We have a really, really special opportunity for some folks here. We're a boutique community with 97 total home sites. We have waterfront amenities.
Every home site can accommodate a basement, which is really fantastic and something unique about that as well. Our larger home sites are also unique to Shell Brothers as well. So larger home site, larger homes.
A boutique community means the opportunity to get to know your neighbors.
You know, I have one neighborhood with 1,300 front doors, as an example. That's quite a difference, right? Here you're gonna be able to get to know your neighbors maybe a little bit easier. You'll be moving in at the same time, so nobody's like established and been here for 10 years, so kind of all be going through it together. It makes it really fun, and similar experiences help bond people.
We got to take a look at the Kingfisher model, the perfect design to give you and your family a cozy but not cluttered style home.
The Kingfisher is a really great floor plan here. It is just the ceiling height in general is just astronomical. It's huge, it's gorgeous. Shell Brothers really strives on natural lighting as well, so lots and lots of windows here, open concept, so lots of open space for you and your family to entertain. Also, what's really nice too, everything that the homeowner needs is on the first floor, whether that's your laundry room, your primary bedroom, your office space, kitchen, all of that. Everything else is upstairs for your guests.
Another feature unique to Serenity at Cubbage Pond, the large detached garage space.
So with the lot size being at least a ½ acre or larger here in Serenity at Cubbage Pond, you're going to have the opportunity for a detached garage, 2-car. We can leave it unfinished. We can finish it out with drywall and insulation, really make it an awesome spot for you. So essentially you would have parking inside for 4 to 5 cars here. So the folks that are big into woodworking or have classic cars, or maybe you're like me and you have boats and fishing rods galore, it is a great little spot to accommodate those needs.
One of the biggest challenges coastal Delmarva faces in the summer months, traffic. Living in Serenity at Cubbage Pond, you're close enough to restaurants and shopping without having to test your patience on the road.
We are 10 minutes basically from everywhere. So if you want to go to Fowler's Beach, if you want to go shopping, restaurants, local areas, that kind of thing. There's also, if you have any medical needs, any appointments, also 10 minutes away as well. So everything is kind of within that area. So it's a really nice, just convenient spot to be at.
And we're not influenced in the summer months as much as our beach towns, so we don't get those throngs and throngs of traffic. It's an accessible place to be year-round.
Ready to build your dream home at Serenity at Cubbage Pond? It's time to give Tyler and Crystal a call.
We're starting to take appointments for our VIP customers right now.
Yep.
I think Crystal and I both have appointments this week. Really exciting time. There's additional incentive for the first 5 home buyers. There's an additional incentive for the following 5 home buyers. Not as good, but still over and above the normal. And so reach out to either Crystal or myself. We work as a team. It's like talking to just one person. We're going to give you the same answers. You're going to get the same treatment and the great Shell service that you know.
The other thing that Tyler and Crystal mentioned is that when it comes to Shell Brothers communities, this house in particular and all the homes within Serenity at Cubbage Pond will sit farther back from the road than you're used to. Typically, the Shell Brothers homes sit about 25 feet back from the road. These are up to 70 feet back from the road, so you're going to have all this space and all this land to enjoy, company, family, and to make all those special memories. But we do have some more Coast Life to get to. That's coming your way. We know that Spring Fest kicked off in Ocean City today, but there's some more details to get to because it's such a love letter to Ocean City. We'll dive into those details tomorrow on the show. And tomorrow's Friday, so you know it's going to be a good day to have some fun with us here on Coast Life. For now, though, go enjoy the rest of your day, or Coast TV News at 5. That's up next. Charlie is downstairs getting ready for that. Have a great rest of your day, and we will see you tomorrow.